So, as a new player to Raid Shadow Legends, I figured I needed some help. So, I called one of the best in the business to do it. Ash, welcome to the channel. Super happy to have you on.
FullFrontage, what's up, man? I'm happy to be here, dude. We've known each other for like, gosh, a decade now. I feel like about
Oh,
going on that,
yep.
and I never thought I'd see the day, my friend, that you're calling me up for Raid Shadow Legends advice, but I love it.
Yes, I definitely need some help. I have been playing this game for a little over a month. 35 days is my login streak right now, so we're looking pretty good. So I wanted to surprise you and showcase my account. So you haven't seen anything on my account.
You did not. You refused to give me a sneak peek off camera, so it's all gonna be straight up genuine, man.
Yep. I wanted the most genuine advice and raw reaction to be like, "Wow, you're terrible at this game," or "Hey, you're actually doing pretty good." So we'll see what comes out of it. But
Yeah, for sure, man. Let me start by asking. I gotta ask, like, okay, you're level 39, player power 175k. You've been playing for about a month or so. Is that
little over a
accurate?
month?
So?
Yep. Little
Yeah.
over a month.
Was there? How do you like it so far, genuinely? And was there a moment where things started to kind of click and you started to enjoy it more, or are you still kind of in that learning phase? Like, how would you characterize your experience thus far?
One thing I've really loved about the game is that I feel like every time I level up, there's something new that I unlock, at least for like the starter points. So it's been coming down to like, okay, I just learned this. Oh, now there's something new I can learn. I've really been enjoying getting the fusion. I have enough for my first fusion. I haven't done it yet, but I do have enough to complete the fusion.
Rosin Scarhide?
Nope.
Broadmaw?
It is. But we'll take a look at it. Relic Keeper.
Relic Keeper. There you go. There you go. Third place ain't bad.
So I do have enough for Relic Keeper. And that's going to be my first fusion, which is awesome.
Congratulations in advance.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. So I've been working on that. That's been fun. And I've also, I won't spoil it, but I've been working on other things and trying to get my first like real big milestone as a new player.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I can't wait to take a look at your account. And I noticed that you're level 39 as well, which is you're so close to a huge milestone in instant artifact upgrades, man. Oh, how have you been enjoying the tedious watching one line fail and fail again in upgrading your artifacts? I don't know why from a new player's perspective, I guess you haven't experienced it without it yet.
Right.
But has that been tedious for you, or do you not really mind it so much?
I haven't really minded it as much because I also feel like I haven't really put a lot of my resources into my artifacts just yet because I'm still learning like what artifacts are good with what champions, what artifacts should I be focused on upgrading? Should I focus on rare artifacts with higher stars, or should I wait for it and get like epic artifacts with a lower amount of stars and then just rank it up as I go?
Like, we could talk a lot about that stuff. That I really, love. Plenty of artifact advice for you, but that's a really good. Because I've complained about this, is why I ask. On my channel, I've been like, dude, it's a new player.
Yep.
Just sitting there and watching those bars go up must be ridiculously frustrating. But you bring up a good point, man, because it's not like you're fully upgrading level 16 artifacts at your point in your account all the time. You know, you have to think a lot, long and hard about every decision.
Yeah, because I only have 6 mil almost saved up.
It's still more than I thought you'd have, but it's not bad. 6 mil is a decent amount, but it doesn't get you that far in this game either. You know, I'm sure you've seen.
Oh yes.
Everything costs silver. Everything costs silver.
Yes, it does.
So, man, where do you want me to start? Where do you want to start? I would love to see your champions.
Yeah, let's start with the champions.
Did you go Kale as a starter? Who'd you go?
Did
you go Elhan?
I went Elhan.
Okay, I see her as your avatar, so it makes sense.
Yep.
All right, the big collection. So no, you do have Chronicler Adolin. So that's your only legendary right now,
I have
right?
Tatu.
Oh yeah, I didn't even see her over there. She kind of stinks.
I kind of thought so, but she was my first Shadowkin, so that's helpful for faction wars at least.
True.
So I'll take that.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, no, here's the good thing about Tatsu, right? She can actually help you out in the early game and a little bit in the mid game too. She's not like the worst legendary in the game, but she's really not one of the best either. But as you progress towards the end game, so maybe 6 months from now, who knows, you can actually use her in the Lady Mikage fusion, the mythical champion fusion. I'm not sure if you noticed. Did you notice that she's one of the legendaries?
Yep.
And at that point in your account, you'll probably be at the point where you don't need Tatsu anymore, you know?
Yeah.
And then you can just sacrifice her to get Mikage, who's one of the best champions in the entire game. So there you go.
I've heard that, and then when I saw Tatsu, I was like, I haven't heard her name mentioned that much, but she is used for the fusion, so I'll take it.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't go wrong. All right, so why don't we start? So I see you have War Maiden. Great, great choice. Yep. You got her from campaign, I'm assuming.
I did, yes.
She's great. And then you have Elhan. Let me see how you have Elhan built. All right. So
I'm looking for the 4th lifesteal for Elhan.
Okay. All right. Okay. You have 4.
Oh yeah. I thought that,
you already got it done, bro.
I don't have the crit rate for the gauntlets, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
But I did get these gauntlets, and I was like, you know what? For the meantime, it's a legendary artifact, so I'll take it.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that getting that lifesteal is pretty good. Obviously, for lifesteal, you actually want to make sure you're dealing as much damage as possible. That way, you can heal off of it. But I mean, this might be basic to you, and feel free to be like, okay, next tip, Ash, next tip. But just like in terms of general builds or whatever, especially in the early game, most of your damage dealers, they're gonna have crit rate on the gauntlets. You already mentioned that. You're gonna have crit rate on the gauntlets, and they're basically every champion that you build in the early game, maybe with like one exception here and there, are going to have speed on the boots too. So are you aware of that already?
I got speed.
Okay, good. And dude, you're already ascending artifacts. That's pretty good. Did you get free materials? Is that why?
Yeah, I did have a few free materials, and I knew that speed boots was super important. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to ascend the speed boots on Elhan because that'll just be helpful for me because she's probably going to have these for a while.
Yep, absolutely. Perfect. Yeah, so getting out of a 4-star boots, getting the 42 speed is pretty huge. So, that overall speed, and Elhan is faster than all the other starters too. So you've got a pretty good Elhan build as soon as you can get those crit rate on those gauntlets. So right now, what are you focused on mainly? Let me see the rest of your, who are you upgrading next, or who are you working on building right now? I see you have Ursula the Mourner, great reviver there.
Yes. Yep. So I'm working on getting her up. I'm also working on my first major task that I'm working on right now is getting Elhan to rank 6.
Good.
So that way
Agreed.
I can get her up.
Yeah.
So I've been working on my food. I have this nice little uncommon at 5 stars ready to be sacrificed.
Okay. Hey, one at a time, right? And then eventually you'll get, okay. And sometimes they have promo codes for like pretty good chickens too that you can use to help speed along the process.
I've been keeping my eye out for some promo codes.
Good. So yeah, Elhan, I think that would be my exact advice, right? Is take Elhan to 6 stars. You're familiar that it's easier in terms of the cost efficiency to upgrade rares than it is epics, and then to upgrade epics than it is legendaries, and it's easier to upgrade legendaries than it is mythicals. Basically, escalating costs for every rarity that you're trying to upgrade in the game. So when in doubt, if you like 2 champions roughly the same, focus on the lesser rarity, especially in the early game, because they're just less intensive. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I put a lot into War Maiden too because I knew she was a really good rare champion. So I wanted to focus on her as a rare, and then I got Ursula too, and I was like, okay, she's very good. So I'm very happy with that pull.
Yes, Ursula is so good because if you look at her skills, I mean, you're probably already familiar, but as soon as you can get her to 3-star ascended, should be a top priority. So you should be farming potions to get her to 3-star ascended so you can unlock the Requiem. With Ursula the Mourner on your account, you won't need another reviver in most areas for a long time. She's the best AoE reviver out of all epics in the game by a long shot, but she even is toe-to-toe with almost every legendary in terms of how good that revive is, Yep. She's toe-to-toe with like Duchess, who's one of the best and most wanted champions in the game for legendary, just because 75% HP, 50% turn meter, big version of increased defense, big version of strengthen, all on a 5-turn cooldown is absolutely insane. Like I don't know if you realize how good that is, but it's exceptionally good. And the A2 will help you out tremendously because on that second ability, she'll have the increased attack and the decreased attack on the same ability, which are 2 like fundamental buffs / debuffs to have on your team. So yeah, you've got a really, really good bastion of support, revive, buffs, debuffs, the whole nine on Ursula. So congrats.
Yeah, and I have put the levels are already increasing on the skills, so I have put in some of my epic skill tones onto her because I knew
they're worth it.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about Ursula, so I was like, well, I'm just gonna full send her then.
And you have her at like the perfect time in an account because she, like I said, she's just such a hard carry for so long. You're never gonna. You can put all your resources. You can take her to 6 stars, fully skill her up, use all your epic skill tomes, farm up all her masteries. It's gonna take you a while, but you can do so with like no regrets because you're gonna be able to ride her hard, which is great. On going back to War Maiden for a sec. On the go to the artifact section. Okay, it was great that you have accuracy on her as well, right? So I wanted to make sure because that's one of the other things that new players often just ignore is having that accuracy set on her is so valuable. Even looking for accuracy auras on other champions if you need it, because getting accuracy on anybody who lands any sort of debuffs, even Ursula, because of that second ability, is going to be so crucial in this game because obviously then they're not going to be able to land their debuffs otherwise.
Yeah. What would you recommend for War Maiden as like a second stat boost?
Yep. Well, so the War Maiden's really cool, right? Because she can deal some damage if you need it. She's the best rare decreased defense in the entire game. Which is crazy because she's campaign farmable, as you're aware of.
Yep.
So accuracy is first and foremost. But generally with debuffers, the most important thing is having your faster than your nukers, right? Than any damage dealer that you have. That way she can land that decreased defense before they go, especially in the arena and areas like that. A lot of people would say, okay, second priority is going to be speed and then crit rate, crit damage. Get some damage out of her, right? Or attack. But what I would recommend is first and foremost survivability, because no one's any good to you if they're dead, right? So even if you have to, even though she's an attack-based nuker, even if you have to put HP percentage or defense percentage on her chest, that would be fine, So right there. So you have accuracy there, but again, you need the accuracy, so it's not the end of the world. But once you have her fully ascended, right? You'll be able to take advantage of that will unlock the 6-star banner spot, right?
Yep.
And when you have the banner, you can make the main stat their accuracy.
Okay.
Are you familiar? So banner and chest are the only 2 artifacts or artifact slash accessory that has accuracy as a main stat, right? So what you tend to do is, for example, boots are the only artifact that has speed as a main stat out of anywhere, right? So what you should try to do is eventually change over that accuracy chest piece to an HP percentage or attack percentage if you can keep her alive, and then put an accuracy as a main stat instead on the banner to make up for it, and then she'll be good. You can put crit damage if you wanted to on the amulet as a main stat. Crit damage main stat is only available on the amulet and the gauntlets. So it's a little confusing at first because it's limited where these stats are available, but I guess understanding that is, part of the first couple month process, and then it will be a cinch for you. One other artifact tip for you is I always prioritize taking the middle row of artifacts. So you have the gauntlets selected there, gauntlets, chest, and boots. Take them to level 12 and then try to push them to level 16. But at least take them to level 12 before you start focusing on the top row, because the percentage based, because you can only get percentage from the gauntlets, the chest, and the boots are speed usually, but you can get percentage there too. But obviously that scales a lot better, in terms of versus flat stats in the game on most champions.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. I don't have any 6-stars, so no banners yet, but we'll get there.
You'll get there. Eventually, it will be Elhan, and she's a great focus. You should always start with your starter because, unless you get incredibly lucky and just pull an obscenely, broken legendary or something.
Yeah.
But even those situations, like I said, she's more affordable to upgrade. So once you get her to 6 stars, right now, I imagine she's your campaign farmer, Elhan.
Yep.
Yeah. Is she doing it okay? Where are you farming right now?
Mainly been farming on 12-3 normal because she's not good enough to go for any higher rating.
As soon as
Yeah.
you get crit rate on those gauntlets, you'll be able to progress quite a bit, you know?
Okay.
So just keep farming for the lifesteal, I guess, you know?
Yep.
All right. Any other? So let me see who else you look at all of your champions. Let me see who else you got there. So you got Executioner. Oh, those are for your fusion, huh?
It's for
That's
the
your fusion all
yep.
ready to go.
Yep.
Okay. I actually like Executioner more than Relic Keeper, believe it or not. But it's part of the Arbiter missions anyway that you're gonna want to do that fusion regardless. So it's all good.
Yep.
You have Muckstalker below Executioner. He's gonna be your main man for Sand Devil.
Oh, okay.
He's probably the best debuffer for Sand Devil, because if you go to his skills, Sand Devil's all about sleep. You need to sleep the Sand Devil in order to apply any debuffs. Sleep is pretty much a useless, not useless, but it's the weakest crowd control debuff in the game, right? Better than the sleep, there's stun, provoke, freeze. They're all better. Stun is the best, right? But actually petrification is the best. It's kind of a newer one, but stun is like, you know, the standard. However, sleep now does have its more niche use cases. They added this Sand Devil dungeon. You just unlocked it, I think, probably.
I just unlocked it. Yeah, I tried my
you
first
got
one.
Muckstalker.
I tried my first one in a video the other day, and I got destroyed.
Well, hey, the good news is you got the Muck, right? So
Okay.
Muckstalker, he has sleep, but it lasts for 2 turns instead of 1. And 2 turns on a CC debuff in this game is very rare, you know? So he's got a 2-turn sleep, and most importantly, it's on a 2-turn cooldown when you book him out with the skill tomes. You know, I wouldn't make this the most immediate focus, because you should worry about getting your starters upgraded and stuff like that first. But eventually you can start allocating some resources into Muckstalker, and you build enough accuracy on him, he's going to be able to land that sleep debuff, and then everybody else is going to be able to debuff and do damage to the Sand Devil. But without that sleep first, it's going to be troublesome trying to progress.
Okay, so with the artifacts, I want to build speed and accuracy on Muckstalker.
Correct. That's all you really care about. Speed, accuracy, survivability.
Okay.
Okay, so who else you got here? Okay, Greybeard's not too bad. Doom Priest is very good. You got some guys here, FullFrontage.
Yeah. Been trying to grind a little bit.
Tune as well you got.
Yep. From the 30-day
All right, here's a
login.
stitch. I should have had you scroll down earlier. So you're sitting on, let me talk about a couple of your epics here, or like 3 of your epics really quickly. You have Doom Priest. She's the one with the Force Affinity. Yep, and right to the right up a couple rows. There you go. So she's really good. She seems really simple if you look at her, what she does, you know? But if you look at her skills, the cool thing about Doom Priest is the only skill that really matters, she has an increased attack on the A2, the second ability, which is good to have, you know?
Yep.
But it's all about her passive. This skill that she does every turn. So the cool thing about her, especially as a newer player, right, is that she heals every turn, and she also removes a debuff from everybody at the start of her turn. So all you have to do is build her fast, and nothing else matters on her at all. You know, like you don't have to worry about accuracy, crit rate, anything, you know? All you have to do is build her fast. She's going to be a great healer and cleansing your team of debuffs at the same time. She's versatile. You can use her basically, you know, almost anywhere. She's very good in clan boss. She can cleanse off the stun. Mm-hmm. So she's definitely worth taking a look at. It's hard to say if I would prioritize her over Ursula, because Ursula, I'd probably go Ursula first just because she brings so much to the table. But Doom Priest, you're sitting on like an embarrassment of riches in terms of your epics, because so Doom Priest is worth it if you need a healer, and you don't really have a healer on your account right now that you're using, you know, that you have built at all. So Doom Priest should definitely be a consideration. She's not like the most broken. She's old school. She's been in the game since day 1, but she's still very good. If you go diagonal down of Dark Elhan, Dark Elhan is a very competent nuker. She's the best nuker you have on your account by a mile. She does a lot of damage with the Death's Majesty, a second ability. She has the decreased speed, which is one of my favorite debuffs in the game. It's just really good. She brings her own increased attacks. So you don't have to worry about anybody else like buffing her. But the best part of Dark Elhan is, other than just the damage, which is great, but if you look at her 2 passives, She's incredibly resilient when it comes to freeze. So anywhere you're going against freeze champions in the arena or Ice Golem or Frost Spider, once you start working on Doom Tower, she's basically removing it from herself every time. She's replacing it with damage dealing buffs instead. And then every time on her other passive again, anytime any ally ever gets frozen, she's instantly activating the Death's Majesty. So basically she's just like nuking out of turn. So you can do some crazy things with her. Even if you're not using her in freeze content, she's going to be great. She's a great nuker. She's a great damage dealer. And then the last one is High Katoon. You keep going diagonal down. High Katoon you got for free, probably just recently. She is very good. She's going to tail off a little bit in the end game compared to, you know, some of the other champions that we've talked about. However, she's probably one of the more essential. She might be my next recommendation. Usually for new players, provided they don't pull anybody insanely good, I recommend the first 3 champions they take to 6 stars to be, you know, their starter. So like Kale or Elhan in your case. And then War Maiden, which you're already on your way to. And then High Katoon, I actually suggest third, because she's a speed booster. She has control. She has increased speed buff. Increased speed. The way that buffs work in this game is that, let's talk about like an aura, right? You're familiar with auras and how they work? Okay. So auras give you a stat boost based on the base stats of each champion. Whereas buffs, so like for example, her aura, speed in all battles plus 19%, right? So if you have 100 speed, if your champion has 100 base speed, they'll get the 19 speed boost, right? Because of the aura. However, increased speed buff, which she has on the second ability, right? That increased speed is going to be, I think she has 30%, right? So when you ascend her, she'll have a 30% increased speed. That 30% is a lot more valuable than the 19% on the aura, because the 30% is a 30% speed boost based off their speed after all of your artifacts, your accessories, anything, masteries, everything is included. So you end up getting, let's just say, you know, if you had 200 instead, right? You get 260 speed. So you get a 60 speed boost versus 19 from the aura and the buff. So really valuable buffs in this game are, you know, incredibly good. Increased speed is seen as one of the essential buffs. So she has that, plus turn meter fill, plus turn meter manipulation for your enemies. She's just a really solid champion overall that she fits into, again, like so many different teams, so many different dungeons, can help you out in so many different areas. So there you go, man. I don't know. Wow. Who are you going to go with?
Oh, man. It sounds like I have some tough choices.
There,
somebody in the comments told me just build full speed on High Katoon. So I just threw every speed thing that I had on her.
That's I mean, it's not bad advice. It's full speed is great, because have you focused at all in the arena yet either?
Mainly just for dailies.
Okay. Arena's good to do like when you don't know what else to do, you know, especially in the early game. Like when you're like, okay, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'll just go in the arena and just they give you, the good thing about arena is they give you your arena battles, you know, for free. It's it just keeps replenishing. So when you use those, you can upgrade your Great Hall. Go to your Great Hall. Have you done anything there at all?
I've done 3 things there.
Okay. Well, there you go. At least you're in the right direction, man. You're going after the accuracy, which is perfect, you know? I think that was going to be my number 1 recommendation, but you're already down that path. I would usually start focusing on like magic affinity, because especially if you go after, if you do invest in like High Katoon, you already have Elhan. Just start bumping up accuracy. After that, the only other thing I'll say about your Great Hall is I personally would leave attack to last, you know? The rest doesn't really matter that much, but attack is a weird stat in which it only benefits 33% or so of the champions in the game, you know? Whereas everything else benefits everybody for the most part. But yeah, as I was saying, let me see your arena team. Yeah, go to battle and let's do a live battle. Let's give the people what they want.
All right, let's find
start with that easy little level 1 team, just to take a look, at what you got going on here. All right, so you have Chronicler, Hadolin, you have for the accuracy. The accuracy all battles, you can see, even if you don't use her, it's still very valuable to have, right?
Yep.
That way War Maiden's always going to land her debuffs. So what you could do on it, how you could evolve your arena team is really easy. You could take out Chronicler, even though I love the accuracy, and you could put in High Katoon in that spot. And what it's going to do is you can go ahead and run it like this. You can take off auto if you want, but basically
I'll
you're
probably
just
wipe
trying
in
to
one turn.
well, you'll be able to wipe this team, that's for sure. But the beautiful thing here is you can see well, that was a little bit too fast, but go to another team. Maybe the level ones was not the best call there.
Here we go for this one.
I can't see your cursor.
With Kale, Chronicler, this GLMB guy.
Yeah. Go for the second team. You got that easy. All right, so start it. Take it off auto for a sec.
Yep.
So basically, with the arena, you want your nuker to go last, ideally, or maybe second to last. In this case, last, not first. So what you can do is, as you start getting, a little bit more gear, yada, 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 you'll have High Katoon go first. I kind of look at it as a relay race, right? Where she's handing the baton to the next person vis-a-vis the speed boost. She's going to give the increased speed, and then she's going to boost everybody up to her speed because she has the turn meter increase. So then she'll go first. Everybody will have increased speed. And then War Maiden will be the second fastest on your team. Okay. She'll go and she'll debuff everybody, right? And then she'll hand the proverbial baton over to the nuker. And Elhan will go and smash everybody because everybody will be debuffed with a decreased defense. And then just in case somebody dies along the way or whatever, Ursula can go last and revive. Actually, in this case, Ursula going third would be best. So you'd want Elhan to be last because Ursula has the increased speed on the A2. So she can go in there and increase speed as well. So then you'll have the perfect setup. So that's something to kind of work towards in the arena. It's not gonna happen overnight, but order of operations or whatever is gonna help out a lot when it comes to progressing,
Okay. Like that.
Now you can just smoke them though. Easy.
So I want the buff.
Yeah. Yep. And then, so it's a little bit out of order, but it's still going to work, hopefully. You can try to do the second ability. Yeah. So the nice thing is that decrease attack that, just landed on Kale on the other team, it's going to at least mitigate his damage enough to make sure your whole team stays alive. So there you go. So once you're able to get a little bit more speed on War Maiden, your team, and build High Katoon, you'll have an arena team that you'll be able to easily farm your Great Hall every day. Even if you're not into PvP so much, it's just going to be nice to work on your Great Hall because those stats benefit you everywhere in the game, so. Yeah, you probably don't want any of that.
I was like,
anything like 3 stars or lower is pretty much not even worth putting silver into, Yeah. Okay. Any other areas of the game you have questions, thoughts, concerns? Want to show off a little bit?
Let's see what. Head to the. So I can actually ascend Ursula a little bit here.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something I should just do right? Ascend her to 3 so I can get her upgraded.
Well, you can only do 1 ascension right now, but yeah, I would focus on getting her to 3.
I have some void potions.
Yeah, but you're not going to have enough. Of the voids, But you'll have 1 ascension. You're well on your way, because. So what you'll have to just farm the rest in void keep, but it's going to be worth it because you do have. My bad. Yeah, go ahead and mix them.
Here we go.
Perfect.
2 stars.
There you go. 2 stars. So 1 star away. That's going to be great. And maybe you'll get like an extra void potions as a reward for that mission. I don't know, but either way, once you can get her to 3, that would be great. Then you'll have that one of the top revivers out there.
Yeah, I have
Chronicler
some epic tomes.
What's or
should I wait until I get the 3rd skill?
I would wait. I would wait.
Okay.
I mean, I'm trying to think of who. It's weird. I think Ursula in a vacuum is better than High Katoon, but I think that skill upping High Katoon at this point in your account would probably be. I don't think you're going to mess up anything either way, but I would probably focus on getting High Katoon to level 50, and then starting to use her a little bit more in your main rotation. Look at that second ability. I forgot how many books go into it. Oh, look at that. If you can get lucky and get 1 level into the Rally the Horde ability, you'll be golden, because getting that to a 3-turn cooldown is going to be pretty essential. So
Just do it.
I would say I would just do it. Yeah, why not? I would say that, well, you can start with 1 book if you want to.
Okay.
Just see if you get lucky, you know?
Nope. Damage 5%
okay.
though.
Yeah.
Try it again.
Damage for skill tomes, not too exciting, but might as well you just keep using them. You're not gonna, either way, you're not gonna regret investing into. Yeah, bad luck again. Level 3, level to the oh, look at this bad luck.
Here we go.
Better go to level 2.
Come on,
man.
No.
Didn't dude.
Unbelievable,
man. This game is rigged. Don't play it anymore. Well, hey, eventually you'll get there. There's not many other places for it to go. That's ridiculous. How many levels are there left on the 2 and the 3? Oh, I'm sorry, on the 1 and the 3. 2 and
3.
Ugh, man, she
So
has a lot
potentially
more
6.
books than I thought. Yeah. We don't like champions that have that require a lot of books. That legendary skill tome that you have, don't waste it on Chronicler Adolin. I would be my recommendation.
I'm gonna wait until I get an actual valuable legendary to.
There you go. Are you gonna do a shard opening soon for any ancients or sacreds?
We could do one.
Oh yeah, let's do it, man. Let's do it.
I have
Ooh, you're sitting on some. You're sitting on some good stuff there.
I was a little dirty gemmer today, and
well, I cannot judge.
I caved and bought my first $10 offer. So.
That's the start. They got you now. They've got you now, man. All right, let's do this, dude. So you have a boosted chance. I would go for Duchess, man. I mean, they're all, frankly, Grando Padraig, the second guy. No. Get her out of there. The one on the far left.
Oh, far left.
There you go. No, far left. There you go. That is, it's weird, right? Because one might argue that given your account already has Ursula, that you might not, Grand Oak might be better, or Estrid might be better. Basically, the other 2 champions might be better because she's a little bit redundant to an Ursula, but she's still way better. She's one of the most wanted champions in the game. So I think that when you have a chance to get a champion this good, you just go for it. So I would go for Duchess. Starting your account with Duchess as your first real legendary, I don't consider Chronicler Adolin a real legendary.
Or Tatsu. I mean, Tatsu was, but.
And Tatsu, I forgot you even had her. Yeah, she's.
But she's my fusion. She's my fusion sacrifice eventually.
Yes, eventually. She could be a very competent damage dealer, but the thing is like you already have Elhan, who's actually a pretty competent damage dealer. Anyway, let's see what you get here.
All right, let's see. Progressive chance.
I'm on like a 1-second delay, so don't party too hard if you get her. You get blood rate. Not good. Blood rate, rather.
Okay.
Nope.
Is she good for barbarian, like faction wars or anything, or just not at all?
No.
Okay.
Good for trash.
Good to know. I wasted it.
Good for food. All right. He's good. A Shadowbow Tyrlock is good for faction wars. Definitely worth holding on to. He has increased speed. He has perfect veil. Pretty good little champion. He's not like, he's not like broken or anything like that, but he's solid. The weak version of increased speed, but again, useful for faction wars.
Good to know. All right, let's see. This progressive chance has to work at some point, right?
Yeah, that's what we all think, and then it doesn't. Spirit Host is all right for like faction wars, or some people use her in early game arena. She has a cleanse on the A3 ability. Removes all debuffs from all allies with a block debuffs for 1 turn. Only problem is that cooldown. I mentioned it a few times, but again, I'm sorry if you're like, yeah, I already know what that is, Ash. Like, but the cooldowns are so important in this game.
Yeah.
You know, it's how long they take to refresh the ability. So for an ability like this, for a rare, it's not awful on a 5-turn when booked out. But we're really looking, as you get to the end game, we're really looking for like a 3 or 4-turn cooldown on an ability like this.
Yeah.
So anyway, I wouldn't invest in her, but some people like her.
All right, let's see.
All right. Another rare.
It's bound to work at some point.
Conqueror, not worth anything,
in
my opinion.
Good to know.
Well, it's only a 0.5% chance for a legendary. I should probably give you the obvious advice that you should wait, especially as a newer player. You should generally wait for a 2x event, so people don't scold me in the comments.
Yeah, right. That's what I've been doing. I've pulled on the 2x.
We're just having fun for the video, guys.
Yeah,
just
exactly.
Fun for the video.
Yeah.
Or wait, either a double X event to pull shards, or for like a really compelling in-game tournament or an event where you can get good rewards. You know.
Yeah.
Like a fusion or something like that. Anyway.
We only have 4
so far, nothing to write home about here.
Another rare.
Longsword Turok is, I would say, very good. Very good.
Okay.
He's got an AoE provoke on the second ability, which is, or is it the third? Yeah. He's got an AoE provoke and an increased defense on a 3-turn cooldown. It's the weak version of increased defense, but provided you book him, he can be a nice little control option. I wouldn't prioritize him as like the next guy you need to go for, but definitely holding on to him help you out in faction wars, and then will help you out again towards the end game or dungeon progression, because he's a good control and he's defense based. So defense based champions, damage based on defense, inherently good, you know, because especially bringing his own increased defense, because not only is he getting increased survivability, but he's also getting more damage because the increased defense, he's also doing damage by defense, you know. So he's pretty good.
That's actually really cool. I like that little twist.
Yeah.
That, like the damage by defense.
Exactly. It's like you can kind of double dip on those buffs that serve 2 purposes. All right. Not worth prosecutor. Not worth looking at.
Okay.
A lot of underwhelming rares in the game. Come on, give him an epic or something. Coffin Smasher is pretty good. He's an HP based rare, obviously, so he does damage based on his HP. HP is like the least of the popular of the 3 in terms of the amount of damage dealers, but some of them are the strongest in the game, like White King and Taurus and stuff like that. Anyway, he has a burn for 2 turns, as you can see right there. It's hard to find dependable HP burn champions that are rare, you know. So he's got that on lockdown. I think he scales off quite a bit, but some people like him, so you know it's worth holding on to.
Okay, good to know. All right, last one.
Last one. Come on. Give us a legendary.
Give me something.
Come on.
Come on.
No surprise. Pounder, not worth looking at.
Okay.
Womp womp. All right, you got really, I would probably just wait on the rest. But Duchess is, you know, it's worth pulling for Duchess. It's worth pulling for Duchess. But
we do anything with this 1 void shard that I have?
Who's the progressive chance on void right now? Bellatar and Little Miss Annie. I don't think either are worth even going for. I would not select. If you want to pull it, you can pull it, but I wouldn't select any champions, given your account. LMA, Little Miss Annie is awesome. You can summon if you want to, man.
Let's do it. Why not? Let's go for it. See, we
can't
end with all rares, right?
Okay. All right, Renegade is actually really, really solid. You can definitely hold on to her. You'll definitely use her.
Okay, so not a bad pull.
Not a bad pull. She's somewhat niche, but very unique on her 3rd ability. She has Sacrificial Ritual. So like, there's this very limited class of champions in the game that can reduce the cooldowns of all other allies' skills, you know? So what and we just talked about how important cooldowns are. So a champion like Renegade, she can come in there and, you know, let's just say you have one champion who can dish out like 3 poisons in 1 ability. Or think about Muckstalker. We talked about him earlier. He has a sleep on a 2-turn cooldown. Well, she can come in and cast Sacrificial Ritual, and he can basically get, I mean, maybe Muckstalker's not the best example. Let's use War Maiden. She can go in there and decrease defense on a 3-turn cooldown.
Yep.
And then she casts Sacrificial Ritual, and it brings it all the way back down to the ability is basically ready again in another turn. You know what I'm saying? So that itself is on a 5-turn cooldown when booked. And there's better examples of Renegade, but for rares, she's the best. You know, she's the best in terms of a reset. So Renegade, Painkeeper are 2 that you can keep an eye out for. They both are very unique. They're both void rares. They both do the same thing in different ways, right? I guess not a bad pull there. You can definitely hold on to her.
Okay, so it wasn't a complete waste of the.
It was not a complete waste. You got some
$4.
You got some good options for future investment on your account, but no one who I'd prioritize over a high Katoon right now, or an Ursula, or anybody that you're already working on.
Yeah, that's good to know. Silver here.
Yeah.
And completing our quests.
Heck yeah, man. Anything else? What else you got going on?
Let's see. I did upgrade my gem mine to level 3.
Okay. There you go.
So
that's good.
Working on that. And some people said I should be saving my gems to just fully max out masteries. On Elhan.
Elhan. Yeah. Yeah.
So I got that advice because I did unlock a second slot in the Guardian ring, but they were like, no, just go full masteries on Elhan.
Good advice. Yeah. Good advice.
Like, okay. Good to know.
Guardian ring, the training camp in the Guardian ring is like, it's not worthless or anything like that, but you're going to be doing 99% of your leveling through campaign, at least right now. Eventually, what people do is to be energy efficient, because campaign leveling for food or for champions is quite expensive when it comes to the energy cost, you know? So eventually, this is a ways away, probably, you know, months and months away right now, but eventually you can optimize your energy efficiency by trying to farm dungeons to get artifacts with only 4 champions instead of 5. And in that 5th slot, you can use someone you're trying to level up. You know, they'll die, but it doesn't matter because they'll just get experience if you're farming overnight or something. So it's a way to be more efficient with your energy in the future. But either way, when it comes to gems, yeah, I would not invest in the training at the sparring pit rather. Okay. I would personally, I would use that. I would follow that advice as well. I would recommend just buying the masteries. Have you done any mastery farming at all for Elhan thus far?
I have a
little bit.
On her, yeah.
Either or. Some people swear by it. I do it because I'm a lazy pay to win. So like, I buy my masteries on most of my champions. That being said, though, it's a way to get like a really nice jump start, because when you're farming masteries, like what you can do is, so it's random RNG to who the scrolls go to in Minotaur farming. Yes. Are you? Yeah. Yep. So once you have Elhan maxed, right? The scrolls are all gonna go to the other champions. She won't hog scrolls when she's maxed anymore. You get what I'm saying?
So she could help like one of the other champions like go through and farm everything and just send all the scrolls their way.
So what it does is it actually makes everything else a lot easier when you have your first mastery champion, because you're not going to be dispersing it randomly amongst 3 or 4 or 5 champions. Instead, it will just be, you know, so eventually you can get to the point where you have like 3 fully masteried out champions. You could just stick that one that you're working on and all the scrolls will go right to them, you know?
Okay, that's good to know. So definitely saving the gems to probably get like 3 maxed out champions with masteries, and then just like farming masteries for the others, because I can get to a point where it's just quicker to farm.
Yeah, I feel like most responsible players would say just your first champion, you know, for gems for now. But yeah, I'm pretty irresponsible, and I would say, yeah, absolutely. What else are you going to spend it on, man? You already upgraded your gem mine, you know?
Might have to be irresponsible then.
You know what the thing is like, this is a little complaint on my end, but we've had 15 levels of Minotaur of mastery farming available to us since I think I started playing the game. You know, I don't think they've gone in every other dungeon, they've added 10 more levels. So if you go look at the potion keeps, you know, they're all the way up to level 25, like go to Magic Keep or something like that, right? And go all the way, or 20 rather, sorry. But they added 5 more levels, so now it's basically, it's a lot more efficient to farm, right? You get a lot better resources and whatever. Potion keeps are relatively easy compared to the rest of the dungeons in the game. So eventually you'll be able to progress and you can use any affinity and stuff. So it's not limited like Faction Wars. Eventually you'll be able to progress to where they're fairly easy to get. But masteries, it's still so tedious and it takes forever, you know?
Yeah. Is there anything, I know Spider's Den is good for farming silver.
Yes.
What stage on Spider's Den would you recommend?
So, the best, what you should do on every dungeon, right, is see how the artifacts are 3 to 4 star. Like that's what you can 3 to 5. It goes on level 7, and then at stage 8, you now have access to 3 to 5 stars of every single accessory, rings, amulets, and banners. So, the way you should break out these dungeons is pivotal. Where are you right now again? What stage you're at?
I'm at 5. Okay,
so stage 5, you have access to level 3 to level 4 amulets and rings. So your next goal would be like, okay, stage 7. That way you have access to level 5 accessories, right? And then stage 8, you have access to banners, right? So it's like you should approach each dungeon to where you're trying to hit these milestones to where you're able to farm better stuff. Sometimes there's a difficulty curve that correlates with those milestones as well, so you might run into a plateau. But look at stage 10. Now you have access to level 4 to 5 of all 3 accessories. But the big milestone, I think it's stage 14 in every dungeon, I want to say. My bad, 13. So stage 13 is the first time that you can farm 6-star accessories.
Oh, yep.
So in terms of the goal in every dungeon, not just Spider, but every dungeon, you should want to get to stage 13 to be able to clear stage 13, right? That way you can start farming, because that represents a little bit of a milestone on your account where you now have access to farm 6-star stuff where things will change and you'll be able to progress in other areas, yada, 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 you know?
Yeah, that makes
But
sense.
yeah, silver farming in Spider, you know, eventually you'll just start seeing, like, once you get some key champions along the way, you'll start to progress a bit faster, and eventually you'll get to the point where, yeah, I mean, any stage of Spider that you're able to farm banners is going to be very lucrative in selling those accessories, because it's the only place that you can get accessories, so obviously it's valuable inherently, Spider's Den, in terms of farming. But in addition to that, those banners sell for a lot. I mean, the rings and the amulets sell for a decent amount too, but they just sell for a lot. So you'll be getting to the point where you'll learn really good artifact management, what you don't want, what you do want, and you'll be selling most of your accessories. You won't be keeping them, and you'll be getting a lot of silver from that. So yeah, eventually you'll be farming stage 20, and then eventually you'll be farming stage 25.
Is there
the good
really
thing about stage 20 to 25 is
Yeah.
that the energy cost is the same. Or is it? I forgot. It's been a while. Let me look at my account real quick. I believe the energy cost is the same. No, I don't think it is. I'm thinking of hard to normal. So it's like affinities matter a lot too, right? So you might have a team that's really strong against spirit affinity. So you might start farm stage 24, you know? Okay. So that will also kind of factor into the decisions that you make. What were you going to ask? Sorry, I kind of interrupted you.
Was there a difference between like normal and hard? Like,
yes, in hard you have access to even better accessories, and basically it keeps getting better and better in terms of the caliber of drops that you can farm, mythicals and whatnot, you know.
Oh, okay. So each stage will increase, because these are all like 5 to 6.
Correct. They're 5 to 6, but you have a chance of getting mythical accessories. Let me try. I'm trying to click and see there's an area in the game, but they make everything so hard to find, where you can see. Let's see. If you look on the left-hand side, are you even able to click that on the hard? Yes. So you can see.
Okay.
You know, 6-star mythical banners, best possible drops. So basically, mythical comes after legendary. So, you know, there's always something better in this game, right? Especially being 5 years old now.
Yep.
So. Yeah, eventually you'll want to start farming mythicals, and they're only available in the hard dungeon.
So these normal ones only go up to legendary.
Correct. And mythicals aren't, I mean, they're definitely more powerful than your average legendary, but they're not insanely more. They basically have one more extra, like, roll to them, you know?
Right.
So substats, they have 4 substats just like legendaries, but one of them, it's almost like they have already to level 4, they have one extra like stat boost, you know. So but yeah, man, that's I think that's focusing on Dragon and Spider are going to be 2 great dungeons to focus on in the early game, because in Dragon's Lair you'll get that lifesteal gear that you're looking for, you'll get speed, and you'll get accuracy. Those are 3 sets to definitely focus on heavily in the early game.
Okay. And then
same thing here.
Same thing on hard. When it goes here, these are mythical now.
You have a chance at mythical. They're not guaranteed, but yes.
Right.
Yeah. And but same thing with Dragon as well. Like, you want to start to get to the point where you can get the 6 stars. So that's stage 13. So try to get to stage 13. As soon as you have your War Maiden and your a couple of your champ, your High Katoon War Maiden, Ursula, as soon as you have them closer to level 60, you should be able to get to 13 at that point. So maybe a couple weeks away or something like that, month away.
Okay, I'll take it.
The nice thing is this game starts out like feeling like an ultra grind, and it is, but slowly, but more methodically, your progress will start to snowball a little bit faster.
Yep.
You know, like your first 6-star takes longer than your second 6-star. Your first masteries take longer than your second mastery. That's kind of how the game,
Yep.
you know, builds.
Okay. I like
So
it.
I hope you found it useful.
Yeah. So all in all, with like how I've been doing so far with my account, what are you thinking?
I think you've been doing pretty dang good, man. I mean, you're focusing on the right things. You're not neglecting anything super obvious. You didn't go in there and max out any really crappy champions, which I think is like I feel like the biggest mistake someone can make in the early game in this game is spend a lot of time and resources into investing in just a total crap, you know, champion, and then you look at their account for the first time and you're like, oh
Yeah. Like
you're never gonna use them ever.
Shaman was my first epic, and
Yeah.
I was like, she doesn't seem that good, so I'm just gonna throw on my old like quest upgrade artifacts when you have to upgrade artifacts for your quests, and I'm just like, she can take those for now.
Absolutely. You got the right mentality. You know, even Tatu that you've invested in a little bit, you know, like it's not the end of the world. She's not that bad. You know, I don't want to give the impression that she's like so trash that you can't use her, especially in the early game. Like, I mean, if you wanted to invest in Tatu and start using her, you know, even a little bit more in some areas that are spirit affinity, that are force affinity, or magic affinity, you could use Tatu as your main damage dealer instead of Elhan, right? Because it's nice to have that force affinity. So,
Right. Okay.
Are you familiar with the affinities and bonuses and stuff like that?
Actually, not with the bonuses, no.
Okay, well, you have a basically without I can get all the nitty gritty, but long story short is you have a chance to weak hit against bad affinities. You might not land your debuffs. You won't land your debuffs on weak hits. So, and they'll get strong hits against you. So basically, less damage against them, a chance at not doing damage at all, a chance at not landing your debuffs, and more damage against you if you're a weak affinity matchup. And there's only 3 affinities that really matter when it comes to affinity matchups, so they're pretty easy to understand early on. Void affinity is neutral to everybody, so that's why that's kind of outside the equation. So, for example, Ursula is not going to get any bonus, nor is she going to get any penalty because she's void. Void are kind of the premium affinity in the game. And then magic are going to be strong against spirit, so blue is strong against green, and then force is strong against green, but force is strong spirit is strong, green is strong against red, and then red is strong against blue. So it's like
just that circle.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean,
the red,
biggest thing,
blue, green, and it just
correct.
Okay.
I think it even shows it that way somewhere in the game. But yeah, so that way when you're going against a boss, you know, especially in the early game, and you're running into issues where you just can't progress, you just can't beat a stage of a dungeon or whatever. Let's just say you're struggling against a spirit affinity dungeon, you know, just put in all your magic affinity champions, all your blue champions, and you might have success, even if they're not your best champions, because you'll have those extra chances at strong hits and yada, 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 you know.
That is very good to know, because I don't think I like knew the affinities did something, but I didn't quite know what. Now I do.
Yeah. All you really need to know is that it's generally not a great thing to have, but there are, you know, there's exceptions to every rule in this game, right? Like sometimes you can use that to your advantage because the boss is naturally going to target in some situations. Aggro is a tough thing to decipher in every dungeon, but generally speaking, the bosses may aggro against the weak affinity. So again, let's say you're going against a spider, dungeon, and you're going against a force affinity spider. They might always start targeting your Elhan, right? Because she's magic and they have a strong affinity matchup. But you can use that to your advantage as well. What you could do is build somebody. This is more a little bit along the line, a little bit down the line in the game. But you could build somebody purposely as a weak affinity tank, you know? Make them super tanky, recognize that they're going to get aggro, they're going to get attacked, and build up high resist so they can still resist the debuffs, but that way everybody else is safe. They're kind of aggroing the boss as a weak affinity matchup, you know? So that's something you can do in like fight a spider, for example.
All right, that's good to know. Yeah, so I'll have to build certain. Would you recommend building like a team of a certain affinity, so that way if you run into those issues, you know you can like use that affinity and just take them down?
I would focus on just building a team, period,
Okay.
first, right? Let's walk before let's crawl before we walk, you know?
Yeah.
Like first, just focus on the champions we talked about, and then I kind of, instead of having to focus on, okay, I need a special affinity team, I need this and that, I think it's easier just to start with champions that you know are going to be good for you, right?
Okay.
And eventually you'll have 10 champions and you'll build the build. You'll say, hey, I could probably sub out this affinity for this affinity. I would treat it that way versus specifically building an all affinity team at this stage in the game. I wouldn't worry so much about affinity, but it's nice to note, you know, as you go. And obviously, like I said, Void can fit in any team because there's no weak. They're not strong, but they're also not going to be weak, you know?
Makes sense. Yeah. And I got one more thing. Scrolling through my rare champions, are there any standouts that I could have? Because I know rare champions are going to be the more free to play friendly champions to focus on.
Okay, let's longsword I already mentioned. Eris is worth holding on to. She's the one who's the fusion up 1 to the right 2. She's very good for clan boss specifically, but you won't be using her right away. Go down a little bit more. Keep going. Diabolus isn't too bad. She's the oh, you have Apothecary. Go one down. I'm glad that you mentioned that. He's gonna be, oh man, now you've got a decision to make, my friends.
Oh no.
I might go, I don't know, everybody's gonna have their own preference here, but I might, it sucks because you just put so many books into High Katoon, but Apothecary is a rare who's just as good as High Katoon. He's a little bit different. He heals, but he has that third ability. He has the increased speed and the turn meter fill, just like High Katoon does. So it's a tiny bit redundant to have both of them, you know, but you could definitely use both of them. Don't get me wrong. The cool thing about Apothecary is it doesn't just stop there. He has that aura, 21 defense in all dungeons. You can use him as your aura lead basically anywhere and everywhere in dungeons, right? It's a great defensive aura. And then he has a triple hitter on his A1. That's particularly useful in Fire Knight. Fire Knight, I'm not sure if you spent any time in that dungeon yet.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay. Basically, you have to hit his shield so many times before you can take damage and get debuffs. So having a 3-time hitter, 3 times at random, there's only one boss, so it's not going to be random. It's all going to go to him, you know? It's going to be very helpful to get that shield down. So he has like that nice utility. You can use that. There's other synergies that multi-hits have later on in the game, but very nice for Fire Knight. And then on the second ability, he has a pretty dang good heal that can be critical on a 2-turn cooldown. So he has like a pretty good heal that you can use basically, you know, every 2 turns or whatever. Right. So he's one of the best rares in the game. So, you know, you can choose. It's not going to be the end of the world upgrading both of them, because you can use them both in faction wars and you can use them together if you wanted to, you know, they both turn meter boost. But Apothecary is absolutely worth holding on to and investing in. No doubt about it. Like I said, he's a top 5 rare in the game. Okay.
Would you recommend, I know some units we talked about earlier having like damage based on defense. Is that something that would pair well with Apothecary to like focus on, or is the percentage buff not really worth it?
So Apothecary himself is not going to be a damage dealer for you. Just healer and support, speed booster, yada yada, right? He'll also fit in that role in the arena beautifully, like as that go first champion, the fastest champion on your team to speed boost everybody else with that third ability. But no, I mean, sure, the defense in dungeons will absolutely get more damage out of your defense damage dealers. So you have diagonally down to the left, you have that guy that we just pulled, Longsword Turox. So yeah, he'll benefit and get a little bit more damage out of that aura. But again, auras aren't, we're talking like maybe 100 extra damage, you know, not a 10,000 extra damage. So it's the defensive aura specifically is mainly for extra survivability in dungeons. It's going to help you out
to like buff the damage dealers or anything.
Yeah, it's a nice ancillary effect, but the prime use is going to be survivability off of that aura. But I do think that I might go Apothecary prioritize him over High Katoon even, or at least alongside. But yeah, keep scrolling down. Apothecary is a great pull. A lot of you must have pulled him in your big mystery shard video.
I did. Yep.
Yep. He's probably, again, a lot of players, especially veteran players who are starting over, they will pull a million mystery shards just looking for him. So you got lucky.
Wow.
Congratulations.
Okay. Should have bought a lottery ticket or something.
Yeah. But yeah, man, no one else who I'm seeing other than we talked about Longsword.
Yep. Talked about Apothecary.
I mean, we talked about Shadowbow, Turox. I mean, I would not get rid of. Here's the ones I wouldn't get rid of for food, right? Diabolist above Apothecary. Apothecary. Shadowbow Turlock below Apothecary. And then again to the left, Longsword. Banshee on the far left, one more to the left. I would hold on to her as well. She has 2 AoEs on the A1 and the A2, which is pretty unique. You can put her in a stun set. I'm getting like maybe a little. I don't want to overwhelm you with info, but
no, the cool thing keep it coming.
The cool thing about her is stun sets, which you can farm up. Very good in this game for control, right? You can basically stun everybody. And the cool thing about stun sets is it has an 18% chance at stunning your enemies, but you do not need accuracy to land debuffs from any artifact set. It's basically irresistible, you know? Okay. So it's nice that you don't have to worry about that accuracy threshold. Because she has an AoE on her first ability, attacks all enemies on her basic attack with no cooldown. Basically, every single time she attacks, she has an 18% chance to stun everybody on her first ability. Then same thing with her second ability, right? You don't even have to use her third ability. You can just leave it off. So she's a great candidate for kind of an end game. I wouldn't build her right now, but she can be viable later on when you need rares to stun and like restrictive content. Okay. Keep scrolling up. I'll tell you any others that I would hold on to. Nobody so far. Coven Smasher, probably hold on to. The guy on the far left, one row up, he's new. I forgot what he does though. Can you look at his second ability for me? Yeah, look at his third ability. I think he's definitely worth keeping for he's definitely worth keeping for Faction Wars and Sylvan Watcher. Eris, we talked about, the one on the yep, she's worth keeping for clan boss teams later on.
Okay.
And Renegade, we already talked about. She's worth keeping. Some people like Dagger. I don't love her. Top one row up in the middle. Yeah. I don't love Dagger. She's very squishy, and you already have War Maiden, but a lot of people would probably say to keep her, but I would probably just use her as food personally.
Okay.
She might be good for Bannerlord's Faction. I was going to say, she might be good for Bannerlord's Faction Wars. She has on her second ability, it's an AoE decreased defense, similar to War Maiden. Only difference is hers is only a 75% chance at landing when you have it fully booked out, right? Whereas War Maiden is 100%. Now, the benefit that Dagger has, she's void affinity, so there's no chance she can weak hit, or so she doesn't have those weak matchups. So she does have advantages, but especially now, 5 years into Raid, I feel like you can get like solid decreased defense champions who are epics, you know, after you've been playing for a couple more months. So maybe for Faction Wars early on, but other than that, I wouldn't focus. And I think that's all. Everybody else, I would just use for food.
Okay.
You know,
it's good to know. I have Greybeard up here.
Yeah, Greybeard's not bad. He's very good for Faction Wars. He has a AoE freeze, which is great control. So definitely worth holding on to. And
Mucksucker.
Muck we talked about. He's the dude that you can use for Sand Devil with that sleep. Mm-hmm. And I think that's pretty much it. Executioner. Yeah, unfortunately, you're going to get rid of him.
Fusion.
But I really like Executioner. He's a defense-based nuker as well.
Maybe I can get another one.
Yeah, you can definitely get another one. What you might want to do, too, is are you on the mission right now to fuse Relic Keeper?
I might be. Oh, that's not mission.
Yeah. You might want to just use, I mean, it's up to you. It's not going to make or break your account in any way, but you might want to just use Executioner.
It's in this track, right?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, somewhere in there. You might want to just use Executioner until you actually get to the mission to fuse Relic Keeper.
Okay.
Because he can help you out a little bit. You know, he's pretty good. He's got decreased speed. He's got decreased turn meter. He's got an AOE. He's a pretty unique little champion for a rare. He's not like game breaking good or anything like that, but I like him a lot.
Yeah.
So Fuse just so is there a Fuse Relic Keeper somewhere in there? It's been a while, man.
It might be in part 3, so I might have to like do this whole track, and then Relic Keeper's probably like part 3 or something.
Yeah. Okay, I would hold on to him until you have
Just
to.
hold on.
He's
Okay.
in Faction Wars, you know. What? You've already invested a little bit into him anyway, you know.
Yeah, because he has to be ascended up to Fuse anyway. So
Exactly. All right, but yeah, but dude, overall, dude, I feel like you're doing great, man. You're well on your way.
well, that's good to know. What artifact should I throw on Executioner?
I would throw a defense as a main stat on the ring.
Defense, okay.
Defense percentage on the chest.
I have defense covering. I do. Look at
Yep,
that.
there you go. That's good enough. I mean,
Perfect.
I would take it maybe to level like 4. Upgrading to level 4 or level 8 is pretty dang cheap, you know. So it's kind of worth doing just for the, even though it's a crap accessory that you're gonna trash in a month, you know.
Yeah.
But it's also like a cost analysis is not that bad, you know. It's like a couple thousand. So go defense on the ring. I would go with defense percentage on the chest, crit rate on the gauntlets, and speed on the boots.
Okay. Any set
then-
specifically? Or
I always say stats before sets in this game. So
Okay.
I think first and foremost, make sure you get it. Like go to the chest piece.
Yeah.
Go like click on his chest. There you go. Here.
Filter primary stat defense, you said?
Defense percentage. So primary stat, actually go to primary stat defense and get rid of, go to HP and go to attack and then scroll up a little bit oh, and then go to chest, go to boots and click on your gauntlets too. So you have 51 artifacts. I feel like you can probably sell all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, because getting flat stats in that main row, especially you're not free to play. Like there is some niche use case where you can get by with a flat stat, but especially the caliber of artifacts that you have right now, and the fact that you're not like 100% free to play or anything like that. Personally, I would just make the room, get the silver, and sell all this stuff, because you know they're all 3 or 4 stars and they're all flat stats. So, you know, get a 500,000 silver.
Okay.
Yeah, how do you feel about that?
I mean, if they're not useful for anything,
they're not very useful. They're not
Okay.
very useful.
then yeah, I'll take 500,000 silver.
There you go. Take it. Flat stats are generally not that great. You know, like I said, there's always exceptions to rules, and there are things called ore in the game where you can kind of do the stats and try to get percentage instead of flat. But the caliber of artifact that you have on your account right now, it's not even worth wasting your ore on. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, defense as the main stat, so like that is perfect. Ideally for substats, let's see if you have any. Get rid of that.
Well.
Don't remove it right now, just to see if you have any. Go back to the go to primary, go to substats.
Yep.
And then click on crit rate and speed. There you go. So to upgrade that to level 8, and you have to wait till you get one more level. One more level.
Where it's just instant.
Yes. It's scary because you just start losing a lot of silver that way too. But so what we're doing here is kind of, you know, I guess early game mid-maxing our champion, right? Where we're trying to get that crit rate to 100% if we can, trying to get that speed as high as possible. Granted, it's a 3-star. You're not going to be holding on to this bad boy for long, but frankly, you're not going to be holding on to the champion for long either.
Yep.
And it's from a speed set. So I actually think you're better off putting that on, you know, press equip and pay the 20K. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
And then now you can go try to find one more speed artifact that has those substats, you know. So click off defense and then go up and then just click on the weapon, the helmet, and the shield. And then you can see you have a little helmet over there on the speed set. So you're already going to get a plus 14 speed just by having, you know, the set bonus. So equip that and take that to level 8, right? And then now you're kind of working so that we're building this champion only with the stats that we really want on him, right?
Right.
And it might not happen overnight. You might not have all the gear that you need so far, obviously. It's not going to be an ideal, you know, build, but at least he's going to be really optimized to give you everything you possibly can get out of him. Now, the one thing that we need on this guy that we haven't really accounted for yet is accuracy. So I would recommend at this point, you know, clicking on the weapon, the shield, the boots, and the gauntlets, basically clicking off the helmet and the chest, and seeing what you have. Okay, so you don't have anything really available in the accuracy set. Click equipped. Yeah. Hey, it's the early game problems, man. Tough to build, tough to get everything that you want, right?
Yep.
But, you know, ideally, eventually we get crit rate on his gauntlets, we get speed on those boots, and we try to find as much accuracy as we possibly could in the substats, right? And then it will get a lot easier if you ever take him to 5-star or 6-star. But this is like, you know, in the early game and in the middle and the end game too. Like, this is kind of how you build a champion. You think about, okay, what are going to be the ideal stats on this champ? And then I kind of take it one piece at a time. You can hit that fitting room button too, which is nice because then you can see that War Maiden weapon, that lifesteal weapon.
Yep.
Click on it and you can click try on, right? And it's not going to do anything. It's not going to take it off War Maiden or anything like that, but you can kind of experiment trying to get the stats to where you want them to be. And then if you're happy with the end result, you can press the equip and in one shebang, everything will go on, you know?
Yeah, and it shows what the stats could be.
Correct. If you and then you could easily click on it again, the weapon, and then it will have a take off. It's not going to cost you anything like it normally would, but you can just kind of go through and try to find the optimal build using that strategy.
I did not know that was a feature, so that is really good to know, because then I can play around and be like, oh, would this artifact actually be better on this champion or vice versa?
Precisely. Exactly.
Oh, look at that. Learning something new every day.
Boom. Yeah, man. But like, yeah, definitely go with Elhan. And then I would love to come back on and, like, I don't know, a few months or something and see the progress that you've made from here, you know?
Yeah.
Laugh about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Take a look at the last video and be like, look how much of a noob I was.
For sure. But we all go through it, man. It's the fun of the game, you know?
Absolutely, yeah. And there's so much to learn in this game. But Ash, thanks so much for coming on the channel and all the advice. Really appreciate it. And I hope you guys watching learned something new. I know this is quite a long video, but it was basically an account overview to see, and hopefully you guys were able to enjoy some popcorn, enjoy some lunch while you were watching this, and hopefully you guys learned some helpful advice as well as new players or even veteran players come back to the game. But Ash, thanks again for coming on the channel. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure, man. Thanks for having me.